what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox, and I'm coming to you today with the review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 11, Episode 5. This time is going by. This show's been on a damn month already, child. Going by so quickly. Anyway, you guys, the review. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys, let's start with Nene and Greg. So, Nene tells us that they're waiting on the doctors to call Greg and give him an update. I guess he had some test run and they were waiting on the results. In the meantime, while they're waiting, they have a chef there, I suppose, and he is helping Greg take the holistic approach. He was trying these different options to a healthier living, and that includes eating. So the chef is making up a smoothie, and it's got a bunch of vegetables and a few fruits in there, green vegetables, for Greg to drink. And actually, Greg likes it. Nene says she's been on him trying to make sure that he eats better, before he was sick, before he found out that he was sick. And, now that he's gotten sick, he's decided to change up his eating lifestyle. So Greg tells them that, he's claiming healing. There's no more cancer in his body. So this is just kind of the beginning of a new journey for him. But 20 minutes later, they get a call. The doctors let him know that they did find more cancer cells in his body. So their recommendation is for him to take chemo. You guys know Greg doesn't want to do that. They were so shocked. Like, you could tell neither of them knew what to say. Nene asked the doctor, like, wouldn't you find cancer cells in my body as well? And the doctor said, no. I've heard people say that, and I don't know why people think that. Like, if you have cancer cells in your body, then that's not good. They're saying that, no, it's negative. They would expect Nene to come up negative if she hasn't been diagnosed with cancer. You don't just normally, people just don't have those cells floating in their body if they do not have the disease. So now Greg is just like, his faith, is really being tested because he doesn't want to do chemo. And he just told everybody that he's not doing chemo, that he's, claiming healing and everything. I feel bad for them, man. It's, this week has been terrible for Nene and Greg. They've been in social media. I didn't want to mention it earlier. I peeped it out from the very beginning of the season. Nene looked like she was having a hard time, and that's understandable. Everybody suffers when they have cancer. Of course, not as much as the victim, which would be Greg in this case, but, it is an adjustment, and it is a lot on everybody. And usually the people that you're closest to are the ones who, really have to bear the most of the burden, from the person that is ill. So I guess that would be Nene in this case. So I'm not faulting her that she should be Wonder Woman or anything like that. It's just unfortunate to me that they're playing this whole thing out on social media. Greg posts something about being positive and, making sure that you live your life or whatever he had posted. And Nene said, well, you need to practice what you preach because, you are so evil. And, whoever thought that you would treat me this way. And I'm thinking to myself, like, girl, you need to get off of social media because this is never going to look good at you. Even if you might have some legitimate qualms, problems with what is going on, I would imagine that a person that is facing the possibility of death is not the most agreeable at times, and can even be downright mean. I just wish she was dealing with that privately, like with her close family and friends, with her pastor, with counselors. But to do it on social media, people don't readily understand everything that people that are having, families that have cancer, people don't readily understand what everybody goes through. So it's just a bad look on Nene. And then, God forbid, if something happens to Greg, then it's really not going to look that good for Nene because she's obviously going to be very sad and upset, and people are going to say, well, you was all upset about the fact that he was so mean and you wasn't trying to be there and all. It's like you setting yourself up. And again, I really do understand because, when my mom was sick, it was a lot. Family, everybody went through a lot. But still, I just hate to see them go through this, in social media. So I hope they can get it together. Everybody is doing the best they can, I suppose. I just wish she would get off of social media. Anyway, with all that being said, Greg said that he's still not going to do chemo. To this day, I don't know if he has or hasn't, but Greg is definitely still sick. So, Then we see Eva. She and her mom. Her mom is in town. She said if her mom could come every weekend, she would. Okay, her and her mom are close, it seems like. And her mom actually seems like a cool mom. Maybe a little bit of an A personality. You know, Eva said that she gets her personality from her mother, and I could definitely see that in her mother. Her mother's a very successful woman. I think she said did she say she was in the banking industry or something like that? But has retired now, but, you know, has always been used to being in charge and being a strong woman and, you know, that whole kind of personality. So you can see where Eva may have gotten this from. Now they're out shopping for wedding dresses because the mom and Eva's father eloped some 30, 40 years ago or whatever, ran off to Vegas. You know, the mom is now dreaming of this beautiful big wedding through Eva, living vicariously through her daughter. And, you know, she's got an opinion. So, you know, it was very reminiscent of, minus the sourpuss antics of the old lady gang, Joyce, going off on Karma. Y'all remember that. But it still kind of reminded me of that whole setting, you know, with the mom just being there and kind of being somewhat overbearing, not liking really any of the dresses. Every dress that Eva came out in, she was a problem. She didn't like the tooling. She didn't like the drop waist. She didn't like the V-neck, you know, wasn't happy with the neckline. She didn't like the pearls. She, you know, it was just every single dress, it was something. Okay, and Eva was getting a bit frustrated, but you know what? I'm sure she knows how her mother is. Eva does want to make sure that she makes her mom happy in this whole thing, but you know, child, when it's your wedding, you can only make yourself happy first, especially when somebody ain't kicking in on the money. Now listen, if they paying for everything, or if they got something on it, you know, then you gonna have a strong opinion, and it's welcome, and we'll take it. But you know, if I'm paying for everything, then, you know, of course I'm gonna try to listen to what people that are close to me that mean something to me are gonna want. But at the end of the day, it's going to be my decision. So that's what Eva says, you know, when she goes back in the back, she's just kind of frustrated. She was just like, my mom's so opinionated, but maybe I need to come back by myself so that I can make a decision on the dress. And I was like, yes, girl, that's what you're going to have to do. You kind of got an idea of what she wants, but yeah, it's going to have to be on you. So later on, we see that her and her mom go out to lunch. They're just talking about the wedding, of course, and Eva tells her how Michael has well, they have 150 guests that they've invited together, but she's only got 40 people, and that's family, friends, and everything. And the mom was just like, well, I mean, I got people that I want to invite too. And Eva's whole thing was like, yeah, but you know, we can't really add to this number because the price goes up exponentially. It's not like $10 a plate or something like that. That ain't the way that they figure it out, okay? So the more people they start to add, I guess the price begins to jump. You know, the mom just ain't really understanding this, but you can also kind of tell that the mother was not trying to say a whole lot on camera. So then I started to wonder if maybe possibly her mother was helping, or, you know, so I wasn't really sure what that was about, because when Eva was trying to talk to her, and the mom was like, I'm not talking about this now. It kind of gave her the look like, enough of this shit. Okay, shut that shit down. You know, Eva was like, I didn't even say anything. And then all of a sudden it was quiet, honey. And Eva got the little tears got to coming, baby. Mama ain't, look, she already know her daughter. She was like, you can do all this for this camera if you want to. I'm gonna keep on finish eating this food right here. Ain't even looked up at that Eva, nothing. I was cracking up. So, you know, Eva was just like, I just need a minute. So she goes to the back and she's talking to the producers and she's crying, you know, because she's just saying, like, she really does want to accommodate what her mom wants, but, you know, it's just too much. I said, girl, yeah, the wedding. That's why I always tell you guys that actually on the wedding day, you know, all of the stress should be out the window by now, because fuck it, it's here. We about to do this. It ain't nothing else for us to agree or disagree on. You know what? Let's just party at this point, you know. So this is all the pre-wedding, you know, motherfuckers fighting and arguing. And I will never forget, I got into it with my bridesmaids about some damn silver shoes. I was just like, You know, people got corns and bunions and they don't want this shoe and they don't want that shoe. And I was just like, oh my God. It was just a whole lot. So yeah, by the time the wedding gets here, you ready. Because of, you know, situations like this. So when Eva goes back out to sit down with her mother, she apologizes. You know, I'm apologize for crying, being emotional. It's just very overwhelming. And the mom was like, well, I apologize for taking you there. Okay, I didn't really know we was doing all that. You know, I just... You know, the mom seems cool to me. I'm not sure if they're going to try to paint her, if she's going to be on more of the episodes, they're going to try to paint her as this kind of like overbearing mean mom. I didn't quite see that in her. I just saw a mom that has an opinion and is giving it. But they seem to have a cool enough relationship where they can kind of communicate with each other. Maybe the mom might back off a little bit, you know, give Eva some space to do whatever she got to do. But something tell me that the mama going to get them people at their wedding. Okay, come hook a crook. You know, they move on from there. You know, everything is happy again. And we'll see what else happens with Eva and her mama. So we see Shamari and Ronnie. They are at the house getting prepared for this birthday for the twins that's coming up. And they have their little nannies or cousins or aunties or somebody come get the babies. It's so funny because one baby looks exactly like her and the other baby looks exactly like him. But then them two actually look alike. You know how after you've been together with somebody so fucking long, y'all start to look alike, people say? Okay, that's a great example. It's like all four of them look like brothers and sisters. Anyway, she's telling him about, you know, the Bailey Q and the game that they played and how, you know, they asked the question if anybody had a threesome, and she said, not a threesome, you guys, if anybody had an open relationship, which to me is like a crazy question now that I think about it to even ask. Like, I mean, do you ask that just off the cuff? Obviously, they had some little inkling about it, you know. But anyway, she tells him that they asked if they had an open relationship, and she said that she had, and he was just like out of everything to talk about at the fucking Bailey Q, this is what you decide to talk about. Like, it wasn't nothing else that you could talk about. And she was just like, well, my life is an open book. I'm thinking to myself, Ronnie probably was like, my life ain't shit. Okay, even though we could probably maybe assume some things that, you know, they've been through in their relationship just because of celebrities and celebrity wives and all of that shit. But still, he was just like, you know, but it don't matter because everything is not for everybody to know. I started thinking about it and I was thinking to myself, like, when you go on these reality shows, you have to know that some of your dirt will probably come out. Because if there's more than just you knowing what you did, a lot of times those people will speak out. So this might have really been their way of just handling it from the beginning so that, you know, these couple of girls that she was fucking on couldn't come out of the woodwork and just be like, oh yeah, we had an open relationship. And then this whole, you know, we didn't watch enough Scandal to know that you get in front of the damn drama, right? You get in front of the story, you tell it your damn self, so then you can handle and control, you know, what people are saying about you. If you put all of your dirt out there first, can't nobody hold that against you. And it is a true adage. So then I started thinking like, well, maybe this was their way of doing that. So, you know, Ronnie was just like, yeah, you know, we was in a bad place at the time. You know, she was bi-curious. He was like, you was bi-fucking crazy. The way he was making it seem was like Shamari was the one that was really a little bit more off the chain excuse me, than Ronnie was. Because she even said herself that she was the one who started it. She was the one who ended it. They got past that. And, you know, she's telling him that she loves him now more today than, you know, she ever has. And he says, yeah, you know, but fast forward to today, you know, nobody really wants to hear about that shit that happened way back then. Okay, so Ronnie has a little problem with it, but I think, like I said, this was their way of dealing with it, putting it out there. Maybe this is the worst of the gossip that could come out about their relationship. So, I mean, you know, you got to do what you got to do. So I guess I got it. All right, you guys. So Portia and her man are at one of his business establishments.
Who is Dennis's Hookah Lounge? It's the place to be if you're in Atlanta.
Portia's having her mama down to the spot, you know, so that the mama can kind of interrogate, you know, find out what's what Okay, who drop kicked who? Shout out to Riri. On this relationship, Portia seems to be so smitten. Miss Diane get there, and again, that Miss Diane is beautiful. I was like, girl, you look better and better every time I see her. Miss Diane said, bitch, I ain't on this show, but I bet you I'm on this show when I'm on this show, though. She sits down with Dennis and Portia, and Dennis sends the hookah away, and Portia's like, good, cause my mama don't like no hookahs. My mama don't like hookahs and stuff like that. She don't like all that smoking stuff. Miss Diane is like, so what exactly is going on with y'all? Why you got my daughter in just such a tizzy? And Dennis says, well, Miss Diane, to keep it all real with you, everything just fell into place, like when we first got together. And she says, okay, well, but how do you know that this is really what you want? And Dennis says, well, I only plan on getting married one time. I said, oh, that is such a nice thing to say. Okay, we love a man that's focused. I don't know if the motherfucker mean it or not, but you know what? It's nice to hear, at least. So far, Dennis seems to be pretty on the up and up for me, but he seems cool to me. What y'all think? Anyway. I love him so much. I went and got a magic tattoo just like him. It's a cross, a heart, and a dollar sign. That mean he about his God, his love, and his money. Miss Diane is listening, and she's just so happy that Portia has found him, because in the past, she hasn't been able to really be herself, it seemed like, with her, her other husband that we, shall remain unnamed. She even goes so far as to say that Portia has met her soulmate, okay? And Portia, Mama, how you know that that's my soulmate? Why you say that? She's so pleased that her mama said that, and she told us that she could even hear wedding bells ringing. Honey, we fast-tracking this relationship, ain't we? Then we see Kandi. She's first some damn where. When it's time to eat, Kandi always first there. Okay, so she's meeting Nene and Cynthia and Marlo. Cynthia gets there after Kandi, and then Nene shortly afterwards. They have on dresses and everything, but nothing over the top. And then here come Marlo looking like she about child. She got on a full sequin mini dress. She sit down across from Cynthia and she says, Cynthia, I'm so glad you have on a dress. You've been such a tomboy lately. Cynthia was just like, really? And I started thinking back like, yeah, now that I think about it, Cynthia has been really dressed down quite a bit on her Instagram. I guess Cynthia just be chilling. Cynthia is talking about her man, how her freak number has risen. And Kandi was just like, it is because I heard you wasn't hitting on nothing in that bedroom. Oh, no, honey. Cynthia and her man Mike Hill, chill. Evidently, they've been getting it in the bedroom. Cynthia is so uncomfortable. Just when she talks about it, ain't like anybody else talking about their relationship. Cynthia is a whole nother level of uncomfortability. So while they're all sitting there talking, you know what? And it could be from editing, but it didn't flow smoothly if it was from editing. Let's talk about who our favorite person seems to be to talk about as far as Kandi is concerned. Portia. What are you guys telling Portia the advice you're giving her with her new boyfriend? I said, why, Kandi? Why do you care? I know we got to move this storyline along and everything, and we got to get through it. But it's so annoying the way they're going about it. And I just really can't believe that Kandi signed up for this type of storyline and being the bone carrier when... Okay, I'm not even going to talk about... I'm not even going to keep on beating a dead horse. She tells us that she's trying to be cool with Portia, but it's still very new. They not really quite there yet. Fine. You ain't helping it talking about her fucking new boyfriend that you don't even really know. You know of him, of him around the city and everything, but you don't really know him like that. So it's just like, girl, you just too much. He was just with somebody else and he just broke up with him like a month ago. That was like a fucking month ago? Yep, a month ago. Contrary to what everybody thinks, I do want Portia to be happy with her new boyfriend. I say you is a motherfucking lie, Kandi. Because otherwise you wouldn't even be so fucking concerned. Now who's gonna tell Portia? Well, Kandi says she can't do it because, she's gonna think that she's coming from a negative place. You think? And then the rest of them decide that they not gonna say nothing either. You know what is best if everybody just stay out of it. But these girls don't stay out of shit, do they? So it's the twins' birthday party. Remember, this is the birthday party for the two kings. And it's a whole bunch of fucking people there. And that's how you could tell that when a person is native to a city. Okay, their whole fucking family was there. Aunties, uncles, cousins, okay, grannies, great-grandparents. Okay, I was like, wait till they find out that you was bi-curious. Big Mama ain't gonna understand that shit. This is big party. She said she spent over $10,000, and of course all the girls from the show are gonna be there as well. Marlo comes. She has her little nephew. You know, he's ready to party. Kandi and Todd get there with little Ace. It was funny when Ronnie walked up to Kandi. It was kind of teasing her about, you know, placement, and she was just like, "Don't come for me, because I like you." Who doesn't show up is Portia. I thought I detected a slight bit of shade with Portia and Shamari. I'm not quite sure why. Shamari said that Portia was being kind of rude, kind of shady when Shamari invited everybody to the baby's birthday party. You know, she told Portia she could bring her niece, and she was just like, "Oh, she won't be able to come," and kind of laughed out loud. And, you know, Shamari was just like, "I don't really know what all that about. Okay, we supposed to be homegirls. You know, we all went, you know, we went to school together." I'm thinking to myself, like, how many fucking years ago was that? Unless y'all been hanging, you know, tough ever since. Can't really say just because you went to high school with somebody, you supposed to be like that, you know. But she was like, "Are you really from Decatur? Are you really from the A?" I was just like, okay. So now what is the problem between the two of them? At the same time, Eva is trying to get there. Okay, Kandi brings up, okay, she really has taken up the whole bone carrier position, hasn't she? She brings up how Eva was being shady about Shamari's dress. Eva is just getting there, her and her man, and she trying to get through all of the crowd of the aunties and the uncles and the grandparents, the great-grandparents and all of that. It looked like it's fucking hot in there because Marlo is fanning like a fucking wild woman. They sit down and, you know, it looks like everybody is crowded into this spot. Eva sits down and she hears them talking about the fact that Eva had given her the peach to say that she needed, you know, the most makeover. Eva was just more so trying to pass the buck, not necessarily passing it to Shamari saying that she needed the... But it was so funny because Kandi was just like, "You are really backpedaling right now." And she wasn't. She was just like, "Wait a minute, no, that's not what you know, that ain't what I said." Like, I was like, why y'all keep on jumping on Eva? And the bitch just sat down, okay? Let her get her bearings and shit before y'all jump on her. But Eva was like, "Look, I don't care what you wear, okay? You fashionable. If your man like it, you like it, then I love it. If that's how you want to look, fine with Eva." Anyways, you know, they celebrate the baby's birthday. Ronnie thanks everybody for coming. You know, they say happy birthday to the baby boys, and it looks like the party was a success. Now, Kandi meets with Don Juan and Todd, running over her schedule, all the things that she's got coming up. Y'all know Kandi is a busy woman. You would think that we would discuss all of that, but nope. Why are we here to talk about Portia again? So she tells them about what she had heard about Dennis, okay, and how he was with the girl and, you know, a month before. And I had a lunch with Nene and Cynthia and Marlo, and when I told him, I wondered, should I tell her? Don says no. If the nigga is a dog, let him find out on his own. It's not like you guys are even girlfriends. Like, why? What? Child. So, of course, it wouldn't be received well. I mean, this is common sense. Kandi says that when they left lunch, you know, they had all decided that they weren't going to say anything to Portia. Obviously, someone told Portia because she went off on Dennis, and then Dennis was calling his ex-girlfriends and going off on them. Don was like, how whack can you be? How you gonna go off on your ex-girlfriends about some shit? Would you do that? Okay, asking Todd. Todd was just like, I would just, you know, be like, we together, you know, this me and you, don't worry about nobody else. But again, the situation is a little bit different here because Kandi is the one that's carrying this shit back and forth. Maybe they could have been that way if Kandi and Portia already didn't have this extensive fucked up ass history. While it is whack to be calling ex-girlfriends and shit because, you know, bitches gonna talk. You know, I can kind of see why it happened. So Kandi tells us that she feels like Nene is the one that did it because they're the closest, Nene and Portia. She doesn't think Cynthia would do it, and, you know, she don't really feel like Marlo is was the one either. But now she's found herself in some sort of conundrum, I guess. Okay, I was like, well, you should have just kept your mouth shut from the beginning. So now we're going to go to lunch, and it's surrounded, they say that it's supposed to be for Cynthia's going to be opening a wine cellar, the Cynthia Bailey wine cellar. Cynthia got more fucking businesses that we don't know nothing about. Every time you turn around, I mean, we know about the eyeglasses and all, but remember she was supposed to be having a restaurant, and maybe she turned into a wine cellar. But, when Kandi and them all sat down, and Kandi was just like, well, have you talked to anybody about, alcohol licenses and the money? And Cynthia was like, well, it's just in the development stages, meaning that her and Andy just talked about it 2 weeks ago. Fuck, we trying to get this scene done. Okay, so this time we got Cynthia, Nene, Portia, and Kandi. And there's all this small talk, Portia's talking about, Dennis do this and Dennis do that. She's talking about her man, and Kandi is just like, why is she trying to act like everything is okay when I know she's upset about what was said about Dennis? Kandi want to fight today, obviously. So Kandi comes clean and says, well, you know what? I know it was some stuff said about Dennis and it got back to you and you was mad.
Well, I didn't even really think it was no big deal.
And she says, well, obviously you thought it was a big deal because all of a sudden he was calling everybody. Now, how did Portia find out about it? Nene says that she don't get involved in anybody's relationships. That's what she told when she had to do her confessional. Portia said that Nene was the one who called her and told her. So Portia clearly tells, but I don't think Portia really knew that it was supposed to be a secret. Either that or Portia was like, I'm not getting caught up in no more fucking, somebody tell me some shit and I'm supposed to keep that shit quiet. Like Nene told me and this is what it is. It done backfired for her before by keeping shit quiet about who told her what. So Portia cleared herself immediately. Nene told me. And then, of course, after the show went off, they was on Twitter back and forth arguing. Just some stupidity. I'm thinking to myself, like, what is wrong with Nene? She needs to get off of social media. Okay? Obviously, her life is quite stressful and straining right now. And you can't be fighting every fucking body on social media. Girl, just leave it alone. This is not even a fight worth fighting. I was hoping that it was just going back and forth, for ratings, for people to get, hype up some shit, because the show, people have been complaining that some people have been complaining that it's been boring. I've been fine with it. So I thought maybe that's what they were doing, but I was just like, Nene, girl. Portia's trying to just pass it off like it's not that big of a deal. Okay, I got a tattoo, a matching tattoo. And Kandi was just like, well, it seems like everybody got a tattoo. And of course it's getting worse and worse because Kandi just keeps on going on and on about the boyfriend. Okay, Portia was just like,
first of all, you don't even know him. I am just happy with him. He is my boyfriend. Everything is fine.
Like, bitch, get out of it. Okay, Portia,
you're going down the wrong road. You're going down the wrong road.
Fuck, we just said at the end of last season we was gonna let this go, and here you go, keeping bringing this shit up. Let this fucking girl be happy, and if the nigga is no good, we'll find out eventually. They start talking about who would want to know, Cynthia say she would want to know, and it's all in the context of how you find out about something. If one of my homegirls is gonna tell me something about my nigga that I'm with, that's one thing. If it's a bitch that I ain't got along with all this fucking time, then all of a sudden you feel like you need to be telling me about my dude. No. I don't need that I don't need nothing from you because I can't trust it. I don't know if you got my best interests at heart or nothing. So just let me figure the shit out for my fucking self. Because you don't care is the bottom line.
Kandi should be out there selling butt plugs and dildos instead of worrying about what's going on with me and my man.
Oh, Candy's doing that too. Kandi is definitely doing that. Kandi is, honey, she's a jack of all trades. I hope that this only lasts for a couple more episodes and we can move past it. Evidently, we're going to find out next week that she's pregnant. And maybe then people will realize that they really serious about this relationship. But, I'm sick of this shit with Kandi and Portia already. Alright, Rockstars, that is it. Let me get off of here and get back to work. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel is for itsrox, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. Alright. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, Rockstars. Bye.